What's up, guys? Welcome back to Between the Pylons. I'm John Camacho. Thank you so much for watching, and this is another episode of Draft Profiles. Here we're doing this every single week, couple times a week until the NFL draft. This is a NFL draft channel at heart, and that is what we're going to be doing moving forward. So if you're into the NFL draft, please hit like, subscribe, leave it in the comments if you want to hear me talk about a certain player. Really interested in those comments. All right, let's get right into it here with Drake London, wide receiver out of USC. This is one of the top prospects, in the class right now. And look, he's a big-bodied dude, 6'5", 210 pounds, and if you know anything about him, I don't have to tell you that his claim to fame is his contested catch ability. It's actually third in the nation according to PFF, as you can see on the screen. This is a guy who got over 100 targets, over 1,000 yards receiving, 7 touchdowns, was just an absolute outlet for his quarterback. Whenever they needed a big play, he was the target, he was the alpha dog, and the assumption is he can bring that to the NFL level. I really believe he can. And listen, I don't really like to get into rankings this early in the video, and I usually don't touch on them a whole lot this early in the draft season because I haven't even gotten through all the wide receivers. I haven't even gotten my final grades in because a lot of that does come with some other data, some refinement of my grades and all of those things. But I look at this guy as a guy who will, almost certainly be in my top 5 just overall wide receivers. And really, when you talk about the skill set that he has, it will be elite. And let's bring that conversation right into the skill chart here, because when you look at the skill chart, here are the couple things that you're going to love. You're gonna love the contested catch, you're gonna love the contact balance, you're gonna love the overall athleticism. Those are elite traits. The body control as well, elite traits. 7 and above for me are elite traits, and he is elite in all of those categories. If you were grading wide receivers based on their ability to go up and get the football in this draft class, you're not going to find anybody better than Drake London. All right, now I'm not saying he can't do all the other stuff. We're going to get into that, but truly at his core, that's what you're getting. That's why he will probably be drafted in the first round, somewhere in that ballpark. Maybe he falls to the back end of the second, but I really don't think so. I don't think you get a guy with elite traits like this in the second round. I think guys like this go in the first round. It's really early, hard to tell if he's going to be where he's going to be in that first round range, but I like him anywhere, 11 to 25, I think is his range. I really do. Anywhere in that ballpark, I could see this dude going. All right, let's get into the nitty gritty here. First of all, his route running at the very top, it's very good. It's not elite by any means, but I really like his route running. I think he has very sudden, very crisp routes. He does everything with a purpose, and he turns receivers around a little bit. It's enough for me. I like his ability to get open. I like his ability to separate at the top of the route. That we'll go to separation here because it is one of his lower grades. I'm going to get into that, but just from a route running perspective, his ability to separate from route running, it is pretty good. He's a high cut, big bodied guy, so it's not going to be like some of these twitchier athletes, but it's still pretty good for the type of player he is. I always try and keep that in mind. Hands at a 5.4. Look, I know his contested catch ability is very high at a 7.9. Actually, I think the highest grade that I have for him, because his ability to go up and get the ball deep down the field, contest, it's amazing. His hands overall, just a few too many drops. I don't have a big deal with it. It's still a positive grade for me. It's not something that I think you're really gonna worry about. Like, it's not something that I look at and be like, man, his hands are iffy. I think we're just looking at a guy who has a couple concentration drops, a few too many in my personal opinion. I think overall he had 8 drops on the season, so not a major deal, but he did have a higher than normal drop rate overall as far as throughout the entire college football ranking. I think he was 21st worst as just pure drop rate, and that just is what it is. Nothing you can really do about that. Athleticism 7.4, like I said, elite, very good. Quickness and burst, this is a grade that I really did struggle with because I do want to point out he does have quick feet. And for a 3.7, you know, it's unfair to just the type of guy he is, as I said already, high cut, big bodied kind of dude who isn't going to be that twitchy athlete that you're looking at from the smaller, you know, more compact athletes that you see at wide receiver sometimes. Here, it's just not that. So like it has to be kind of a negative grade in that respect. But I did want to just give it a little bit of respect from the fact that like his release is good at a 5.5. That's a checks the box grade for me, because I do think it's really good. I mean, it's solid. He has quick feet. He has the ability to release with like good strength. And I know I'm kind of going all over the place a little bit, but the key thing I want to point out is his quick feet when it comes to quickness and burst. That's why it's at a 3.7 and not like a 2.7, because there were certain aspects of his athletic profile that like intrigue me, even though he is not, you know, in that box, and it's certainly not something that you're going to look at Drake London and expect from him. But moving on, I've hit on contested catch enough. Yards after catch, surprisingly good. I think when you look at the stats, it's actually really surprisingly good. I think over 40% of his yards came after the catch, which just kind of surprised you with the type of guy he is. But yeah, he has some athleticism. He has great athleticism, and he has a good ability with the ball in his hands. There's no doubt about it. I think this is a guy who truly can be used all over the field. I know I keep talking about him as this perimeter wide receiver, which is what he's great at, but I think he can be used everywhere. I really believe he has the ability to be a wide receiver one that is utilized in an offense, getting, you know, 7 to 9 targets per game. I think that's what he can be at the NFL level, and I think, you know, I think that's where we're getting to. Cut, change of direction, checks the box, all good there. Route tree, and again, that just kind of points to this isn't just goes and comebacks. He does have a little bit of a variety of routes. He can run for the majority of I think he can run every route, first of all, which is a dumb thing to say. I feel like most athletes can run every route, but you see a variety of routes there at USC, and I think that's going to even evolve even more in the NFL. Contact balance, body control, I've hit that hard enough. Release, I already mentioned it. I did want to hit it just again real quick to talk about his ability to, you know, win with his size and physicality. This is not a dude who's afraid of physicality by any means. So, you know, you come up and press him, you know, have fun. That's a hard day's work if you're a corner trying to press this dude. That's just, wouldn't want to be me, I'll put it that way. But moving on to separation, looking like, you know, probably his worst grade. I blocking as a 4.5, which is just kind of like a, you know, nothing good, nothing bad. That's just like my deadline average grade, and I just left it kind of alone just because he wasn't really asked to block in the in the system very much, so I didn't have any real issue with it or notice it a whole lot one way or the other. Separation though, I did want to go back to, because with these big bodied wide receivers that are primarily perimeter guys that can make these acrobatic amazing catches, you know, the one thing that at least early on when I was doing this, when I was first starting to grade wide receivers, I would really miss his ability to actually create separation at the top of his route and actually, you know, win with separation and not always have to win by catching the ball over a dude. It's nice that you can do that, but you like to have a wide receiver that can just blow past people too and not have to, especially with his size. If he has that ability to create separation at the top of his routes, that's special. He does to an extent. Again, I don't think he's getting away from anybody with, you know, a foot race. I don't think he's that type of guy by any means, but he does have the ability to separate at the top of his route with route running. He has the ability to create separation in other ways. So I wanted to just, you know, hit on that a little bit. It's not special by any means, but it is really, really good. And with the overall athletic profile that you're getting from a Drake London, man, you have to be excited, because this is a guy who you're gonna put in a position, especially, you know, rookie year. Hopefully he doesn't have to be the star of the offense. Hopefully he's not, you know, doesn't have those kind of expectations from day one. That's the only reason I think back into the first round is probably going to be a nicer draft position for him, because year one I'd like to have him be complemented by somebody else on the roster. If he's not, I still think he can do it. Let me be clear, like I do think he can be a wide receiver one legit athlete, but I would like to see a little bit more of, you know, a defined role year one and then build upon that, which I think, you know, most teams, most coaches want to see from a rookie. But at the end of the day, regardless of what his role is year one, I think this is a guy who can ultimately ultimately evolve into a Mike Evans style type of wide receiver, and that's a special athlete in Mike Evans. He is not Mike Evans coming out. I think Mike Evans was a higher rated guy, although to be totally fair, I was watching the draft, but I wasn't scouting the draft at that point, so I can't really speak to that. But I think at the end of the day, that's kind of what you're hoping you're getting out of him. And just to kind of go a step further and talk about teams that I think he would fit on, I think, you could be a fan of a lot of different teams and be excited to have him on your roster. At the end of the day, most teams could use this type of guy. I would love, I think he'll probably be gone before the Packers pick, but I mean, if he could go to the Packers and complement Davante Adams, and hopefully Aaron Rodgers is still there, that would just be a ridiculous combination of skill sets, because Davante Adams can probably do everything that Drake London can do, and just that combination, Drake London probably a different style wide receiver for sure, but at the end of the day, I think that would be a great combination. Another team that makes a whole lot of sense to me, the Eagles. They got Devontae Smith last year, but I mean, the Eagles have 3 picks between 16 and 19, I think. So in that range, exactly where I would like to see Drake London go. A lot of capital. I think they could use another wide receiver to add to the roster, and I think he would be their Alshon Jeffrey essentially, and I think he could honestly end up being a better version of that, at the end of the day. So that's high praise, but I do believe that's where we're headed with this type of player. That's just another team. Again, it's really early to kind of nail down his draft position and exactly where he's going to go, but I do think he is going to be among, a conversation in that first round range. I really do believe he'll be a first round wide receiver at the end of the day. Maybe I'm too high on him. I don't know. Maybe I'm just overvaluing the type of skill set that he has, because he definitely has an elite range of skills, but that is a skill set that the NFL has kind of started to, devalue a little bit. DK Metcalf went in the second round, at the end of the second round, and DK Metcalf, I think athletically and far superior to a Drake London, and, there were other aspects to that, but I'm just kind of, I'm trying to explain that there's a chance that I'm a little bit overzealous on him, because I fall in love with guys like that, and I fall in love with the skill set a little bit more than maybe I should. I think teams in the first round, more often than not, probably looking for more the Justin Jefferson, the Jamar Chase, the full package type of guys that Drake London just isn't. He's not that style of wide receiver. So I could be a little bit wrong on where he's going. I feel like I've talked enough on his draft stock and all that. I'll end it right there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, all the good stuff. I really do appreciate you watching. Let me know in the comments what you think, if you'd like him to go to your team, all of those things, and give me some suggestions if you're interested in watching more of these videos. Let me know who you want me to talk about. I'm gonna get through all the big names, so if you're saying a name that's obvious, you don't have to. I'm gonna talk about Garrett Wilson. I'm gonna talk about Chris Olave. I'm gonna talk about all the top end talent guys. I'm doing offense first, but then I'll get to defense down the line. Anyway, I've talked too long. I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.